Question 1. Explain the legal consequences of violating the Coastal Act in a real estate development along California's shoreline. A. Mandatory redevelopment of the area. B. Fines and potential reversal of the development. C. No consequences. D. Community service requirements. Answer: B. Fines and potential reversal of the development. Explanation: violating the Coastal Act in California can result in significant fines and legal action, which may include the reversal of the development or restoration of the affected area. Question 2. Discuss the impact of California's Proposition 19 on property tax assessments for inherited real estate. A. Increased tax assessments for all inherited properties. B. No change in tax assessments. C. Potential tax reassessment exemptions for family transfers. D. Automatic reduction in property taxes. Answer: C. Potential tax reassessment exemptions for family transfers. Explanation: Proposition 19 in California allows for potential property tax reassessment exemptions when real estate is transferred between family members under certain conditions. Question 3. What are the legal implications of selling a property under a land trust agreement in California? A. The property cannot be sold. B. Sale requires approval from all trust beneficiaries. C. Standard sale process without any special implications. D. Sale must be publicly advertised for a set period. Answer: B. Sale requires approval from all trust beneficiaries. Explanation: selling a property held in a land trust in California often requires approval from all beneficiaries of the trust, adding a layer of complexity to the transaction. Question 4. Describe the process and limitations for a property owner seeking to challenge an eminent domain action in California. A. Immediate court appeal. B. Submission of a formal complaint to the local government. C. Legal challenge based on offer adequacy and public use justification. D. No challenge allowed. Answer: C. Legal challenge based on offer adequacy and public use justification. Explanation: property owners in California can legally challenge eminent domain actions, particularly regarding the adequacy of compensation offered and the justification of the public use claim. Question 5. How does the California FAIR Plan affect homeowners' insurance options in high-risk fire areas? A. Provides a government-funded insurance alternative. B. Reduces insurance premiums across the board. C. Exempts homeowners from needing insurance. D. Offers temporary insurance only. Answer: A. Provides a government-funded insurance alternative. Explanation: the California FAIR Plan offers an insurance alternative for homeowners in high-risk fire areas who may otherwise struggle to obtain coverage from private insurers. Question 6. What are the specific disclosure requirements for a property located near a Superfund site in California? A. Disclosure of proximity to the site and potential health risks. B. No disclosure requirements. C. Only disclose if the property was directly affected. D. Disclosure is optional but recommended. Answer: A. Disclosure of proximity to the site and potential health risks. Explanation: in California, sellers must disclose if a property is located near a Superfund site, including any known or potential health risks associated with that proximity. Question 7. Explain the legal framework governing water rights disputes for properties adjacent to a California river. A. First come, first served water rights. B. Riparian rights based on reasonable and equitable use. C. No specific legal framework, resolve on a case-by-case basis. D. Absolute ownership of adjacent water by property owners. Answer: B. Riparian rights based on reasonable and equitable use. Explanation: in California, Properties adjacent to rivers are governed by riparian rights, which allow reasonable and equitable use of water, subject to restrictions to protect downstream users. Question 8. How does California's transfer disclosure statement differ in its requirements for residential viz. commercial property? A. No difference in requirements. B. More detailed disclosures required for residential properties. C. Only required for commercial properties. D. Less stringent for commercial properties. Answer: B. More detailed disclosures required for residential properties. Explanation: the transfer disclosure statement in California typically requires more detailed disclosures for residential properties, including information about the property's condition and any known defects. Question 9. Describe the legal considerations for converting a rent-controlled apartment building into condominiums in Los Angeles. A. Automatic approval for conversion. B. Adherence to the Ellis Act and local rent stabilization ordinances. C. No special considerations, standard conversion process. D. Conversion not allowed under rent control. Answer: B. Adherence to the Ellis Act and local rent stabilization ordinances. Explanation: converting a rent-controlled apartment building into condominiums in Los Angeles requires compliance with the Ellis Act and local rent stabilization ordinances, which may include specific procedures and tenant protections. Question 10. What are the challenges and procedures in rectifying a cloud on title discovered during a property transaction in California? A. Filing a quiet title action to resolve discrepancies. B. No challenges. The title company automatically resolves it. C. Requesting a correction from the previous owner. D. Ignoring the issue as it does not affect the sale. Answer: A. Filing a quiet title action to resolve discrepancies. Explanation: rectifying a cloud on title in California typically involves filing a quiet title action to clear any discrepancies or claims against the property that may affect ownership. Question 11. Discuss the complexities involved in the partition of a jointly owned commercial property in California. A. Simple equal division of the property. B. Legal action to divide or force the sale of the property. C. Automatic sale and division of proceeds. D. Partition is not allowed for commercial properties. Answer: B. Legal action to divide or force the sale of the property. Explanation: partitioning a jointly owned commercial property in California can involve complex legal actions to either physically divide the property or force its sale and equitable distribution of proceeds among owners. Question 12. Explain the legal implications of a property's inclusion in a California historic district for potential renovations. A. Unrestricted renovations allowed. B. Renovations must adhere to historical preservation guidelines. C. Immediate increase in property value. D. Mandatory review by the State Historical Society. Answer: B. Renovations must adhere to historical preservation guidelines. Explanation: properties in California historic districts must comply with specific historical preservation guidelines, which can limit the type and extent of renovations allowed. Question 13. Describe the due diligence process and potential risks for a buyer purchasing a foreclosed property in California. A. No due diligence required for foreclosures. B. Investigating property condition, title issues, and potential occupancy challenges. C. Only financial review required. D. Assurance of property condition by the foreclosing entity. Answer: B. Investigating property condition, title issues, and potential occupancy challenges. Explanation: due diligence for buying a foreclosed property in California includes investigating the property's physical condition, potential title issues, and challenges related to previous occupants or liens. Question 14. What are the legal ramifications of unauthorized alterations to a property in a California common interest development, CID. A. Potential fines and requirement to restore original conditions. B. No ramifications. Alterations are at the owner's discretion. C. Automatic increase in property value. D. Mandatory disclosure during sale. Answer. A. Potential fines and requirement to restore original conditions. Explanation. Unauthorized alterations in a CID in California can lead to legal action, including fines and the requirement to undo the changes and restore the property to its original condition. Question 15. How does the California Solar Rights Act affect property owners' ability to install solar panels, considering HOA restrictions? A. HOAs can completely prohibit solar panel installations. B. HOAs must allow solar panel installations, but can impose reasonable restrictions. C. The Act does not apply to properties in HOAs. D. Mandatory solar panel installation for all properties in HOAs. Answer. B. HOAs must allow solar panel installations, but can impose reasonable restrictions. Explanation. The California Solar Rights Act restricts the ability of HOAs to completely prohibit solar panel installations, although they can impose reasonable restrictions based on aesthetics or property integrity. Question 16. Discuss the legal considerations for a developer constructing a mixed-use building in a California urban area. A. No special considerations. Standard building codes apply. B. Compliance with zoning laws, environmental regulations, and potential community impact assessments. C. Automatic tax incentives for mixed-use development. D. Restriction to residential or commercial use only. Answer. B. Compliance with zoning laws, environmental regulations, and potential community impact assessments. Explanation. Developers of mixed-use buildings in California must navigate a complex legal landscape, including zoning laws, environmental regulations, and assessments of the development's impact on the community. Question 17. What are the requirements and processes for appealing a commercial property tax assessment in San Francisco? A. Appeals are not allowed in San Francisco. B. Filing an appeal with the Assessment Appeals Board during the designated period. C. Direct negotiation with the tax assessor. D. Automatic reassessment every 5 years. Answer. B. Filing an appeal with the Assessment Appeals Board during the designated period. Explanation. To appeal a commercial property tax assessment in San Francisco, property owners must file an appeal with the Assessment Appeals Board within the specified time frame. Question 18. Describe the legal consequences in California for a real estate agent who fails to disclose a property's flood risk. A. Loss of real estate license and potential legal liability. B. A warning from the State Real Estate Commission. C. Mandatory additional training. D. No consequences. Flood risk disclosure is optional. Answer. A. Loss of real estate license and potential legal liability. Explanation. Failing to disclose a property's flood risk can result in serious legal repercussions for a real estate agent in California, including the loss of their license and potential legal liability for misrepresentation. Question 19. Explain the implications of the Mechanics' Lion Law for new construction projects in California. A. Contractors can place a lien on a property for unpaid work. B. Automatic lien for all new constructions. C. The law only applies to renovations, not new constructions. D. Liens are not allowed in California. Answer. A. Contractors can place a lien on a property for unpaid work. Explanation. The Mechanics' Lion Law in California allows contractors and suppliers to place a lien on a property if they are not paid for work performed, impacting new construction projects. Question 20. Discuss the legal considerations and processes involved in subdividing agricultural land in California's Central Valley. A. Subdivision is generally prohibited in agricultural areas. B. Compliance with local zoning regulations and potential environmental impact assessments. C. Automatic approval for subdivisions. D. Only requires notification to the local agriculture department. Answer: B. Compliance with local zoning regulations and potential environmental impact assessments. Explanation: subdividing agricultural land in California's Central Valley requires adherence to local zoning regulations and may involve environmental impact assessments to ensure sustainable land use. Question 21. Adams Arcade, operating for 15 years, recently faced a total loss due to a fire. The area has been rezoned to non-commercial. What must Adam do to rebuild the arcade at the same location in California? A. Rezone the area back to commercial. B. Apply for a variance or conditional use permit. C. Rebuild without addressing the rezoning. D. Convert the arcade into a non-commercial entity. Answer: B. Apply for a variance or conditional use permit. Explanation: to rebuild the arcade in a non-commercially zoned area, Adam would need to apply for a variance or a conditional use permit, which allows for exceptions to zoning regulations under certain conditions. Question 22. A buyer in California is interested in a property, but learns it's part of a homeowners association, HOA, with strict rules. What should the buyer consider before proceeding with the purchase? A. Ignore the HOA rules as they are often unenforceable. B. Review the HOA's covenants, conditions, and restrictions. C and Rs. C. Focus only on the property's price and location. D. Assume the HOA rules will change in the future. Answer: B. Review the HOA's covenants, conditions, and restrictions. C and Rs. Explanation: buyers should review the HOA's CC and Rs to understand the rules, fees, and restrictions they will be subject to, as these can significantly affect their use and enjoyment of the property. Question 23. Explain the legal concept of easement by necessity in California real estate and provide an example. A. Easements granted for beautification purposes. B. Easements created when no other access to a property exists. C. Easements for utility companies only. D. Easements that are transferable between properties. Answer: B. Easements created when no other access to a property exists. Explanation: an easement by necessity occurs when a property cannot be accessed except through another property, such as a landlocked property requiring a driveway through a neighboring property to reach a public road. Question 24. A property owner in California discovers their neighbor's new fence extends onto their property. What legal actions can they take to resolve this boundary dispute? A. Remove the fence without notifying the neighbor. B. Seek a court injunction for removal or adjustment of the fence. C. Request government intervention. D. Accept the fence as a permanent boundary. Answer: B. Seek a court injunction for removal or adjustment of the fence. Explanation: the property owner can legally challenge the encroachment by seeking a court injunction to have the fence removed or adjusted, ensuring respect for property boundaries. Question 25. Define the term fixture in real estate and explain how it determines what stays with a property upon sale in California. A. Items permanently attached to the property stay with it. B. Only decorative items are considered fixtures. C. Fixtures refer to furniture and are not included in the sale. D. Fixtures are always removed before a sale. Answer: A. Items permanently attached to the property stay with it. Explanation: in real estate, a fixture is an item that is permanently attached to the property, like built-in appliances or lighting fixtures, and it generally stays with the property upon sale. Question 26. A California homeowner discovers an undisclosed leak in the basement after purchasing their home. What recourse do they have against the seller? A. No recourse since the sale is final. B. Request a refund for the property. C. Seek legal action for non-disclosure. D. Apply for government compensation. Answer C. Seek legal action for non-disclosure. Explanation. The homeowner may have legal recourse against the seller for failing to disclose a known defect like a basement leak, which can be pursued through legal action. Question 27. Describe the impact of Proposition 13 on property tax assessments in California. A. It eliminates property taxes for senior citizens. B. Limits annual increases in property tax assessments. C. Doubles property taxes every 5 years. D. Applies a uniform tax rate statewide. Answer B. Limits annual increases in property tax assessments. Explanation. Proposition 13, passed in 1978, significantly limits the annual increases in property tax assessments in California, capping them at a certain percentage unless the property is sold. Question 28. In a California real estate transaction, what are the implications of a property being sold with a life estate attached to it? A. The seller retains occupancy rights until death. B. Immediate transfer of property to the buyer. C. The property cannot be sold until the life tenant dies. D. The life estate is voided upon sale. Answer. A. The seller retains occupancy rights until death. Explanation. A life estate allows the original owner, life tenant, to retain occupancy and use of the property until their death, after which ownership fully transfers to the new owner. Question 29. How does the Protecting Tenants at Foreclosure Act impact tenants' rights in California when the rented property is foreclosed? A. Tenants must vacate immediately after foreclosure. B. Provides tenants with the right to remain until the lease term ends. C. Allows tenants to purchase the property first. D. No impact on tenants' rights. Answer. B. Provides tenants with the right to remain until the lease term ends. Explanation. The Protecting Tenants at Foreclosure Act allows tenants to remain in a foreclosed property until the end of their lease term, or provides a minimum of 90 days notice if the lease is month to month. Question 30. Explain the significance of zoning laws in real estate development in California. A. Zoning laws are only advisory and not enforceable. B. Determine how properties in different areas can be used. C. Uniformly restrict all types of property development. D. Apply only to commercial properties. Answer. B. Determine how properties in different areas can be used. Explanation. Zoning laws in California play a crucial role in real estate development by dictating how properties in various areas can be used, such as residential, commercial, or industrial purposes. Question 31. A real estate investor is considering a property in a historic district of California. What additional considerations should they take into account? A. Historic districts offer tax incentives for all properties. B. Properties may be subject to strict preservation guidelines. C. Properties in historic districts cannot be altered. D. Historic district status is purely ceremonial. Answer. B. Properties may be subject to strict preservation guidelines. Explanation. Investing in a property in a historic district in California means dealing with additional considerations like adherence to preservation guidelines and possible restrictions on alterations or improvements. Question 32. Define cap rate in real estate investment and its relevance in evaluating a rental property in California. A. Measures property value based on square footage. B. The capitalization rate, a tool to evaluate return on investment. C. Refers to the maximum allowable rent increase. D. Indicates the capital required for property maintenance. Answer. B. The capitalization rate, a tool to evaluate return on investment. Explanation. The capitalization rate, cap rate, is a key metric in real estate investment used to evaluate the potential return on investment of a rental property by comparing its net operating income to its purchase price. Question 33. A real estate agent in California is accused of not disclosing her dual agency status. What are the potential consequences of this omission? A. A fine and mandatory retraining. B. Loss of real estate license and legal liability. C. No consequences as dual agency is common. D. A warning from the real estate board. Answer. B. Loss of real estate license and legal liability. Explanation. Failing to disclose dual agency status in California can lead to serious consequences for a real estate agent, including the loss of their license and potential legal liability for breach of fiduciary duty. Question 34. Describe the process and benefits of obtaining a green certification for a property in California. A. Certification is automatically granted to all new buildings. B. Involves meeting environmental performance standards, leading to potential tax benefits and higher property value. C. Only applicable for government buildings. D. Green certification focuses solely on landscaping. Answer. B. Involves meeting environmental performance standards, leading to potential tax benefits and higher property value. Explanation. Obtaining a green certification for a property in California involves meeting certain environmental performance standards. This can lead to benefits like tax incentives, increased property value, and reduced energy costs. Question 35. In California, how does a deed in lieu of foreclosure work, and when might it be used? A. Transfers property ownership to avoid foreclosure. B. Only used for commercial properties. C. A deed transferring property back to the bank after foreclosure. D. Invalidates any previous mortgage agreements. Answer. A. Transfers property ownership to avoid foreclosure. Explanation. A deed in lieu of foreclosure is used in California as a means for a homeowner to voluntarily transfer the property ownership to the lender to avoid the foreclosure process. Question 36. A commercial building in California is being converted into residential lofts. What are the key legal and zoning considerations for this conversion? A. No legal considerations. Any building can be converted. B. Compliance with residential zoning regulations and building codes. C. Automatic approval in urban areas. D. Only allowed with unanimous community approval. Answer. B. Compliance with residential zoning regulations and building codes. Explanation. Converting a commercial building into residential lofts in California requires adherence to residential zoning laws and building codes, which may include changes to the structure to meet residential standards. Question 37. Explain how title insurance protects a home buyer in California. A. Covers damages to the property after purchase. B. Protects against losses from defects in the title. C. Mandatory insurance for all mortgage loans. D. Insurance against physical damage to the property. Answer. B. Protects against losses from defects in the title. Explanation. Title insurance in California provides protection to home buyers against financial loss from defects in the title to the property, such as lines, encumbrances, or title disputes. Question 38. A California property is listed as having riparian rights. What does this mean for the potential use of the property? A. Unlimited water usage rights. B. Right to use water from an adjacent river or stream. C. Rights to mineral resources on the property. D. No additional rights or benefits. Answer. B. Right to use water from an adjacent river or stream. Explanation. Riparian rights in California grant a property owner the right to reasonably use water from a river or stream that the property is adjacent to, subject to certain limitations and the rights of other users. Question 39. How does the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, impact real estate properties in California? A. Exempts residential properties from compliance. B. Requires properties to be accessible to people with disabilities. C. Only applies to government-owned properties. D. Mandates disability insurance for all property owners. Answer: B. Requires properties to be accessible to people with disabilities. Explanation: the ADA requires that real estate properties, particularly public and commercial spaces, in California be accessible to individuals with disabilities, which may involve specific design and construction standards. Question 40. A seller in California discovers a significant termite problem days before closing. What are their legal obligations regarding disclosure to the buyer? A. No obligation to disclose. B. Disclose the termite issue to the buyer immediately. C. Only disclose if the buyer asks. D. Disclose after the sale is complete. Answer: B. Disclose the termite issue to the buyer immediately. Explanation: sellers in California are legally obligated to disclose any known issues, such as a significant termite problem, to the buyer as soon as they become aware of it. Question 41. A developer in California plans to build a new housing complex but faces opposition due to potential environmental impact. What steps must the developer take to address these concerns legally? A. Ignore opposition and proceed. B. Conduct an environmental impact report, EIR, as per CEQA guidelines. C. Only address concerns if a lawsuit is filed. D. Pay compensation to environmental groups. Answer: B. Conduct an environmental impact report, EIR, as per CEQA guidelines. Explanation: in California, developers must address environmental concerns legally by conducting an environmental impact report, EIR, as per the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, guidelines ensuring all potential environmental impacts are assessed and mitigated. Question 42. In California, a homeowner discovers a historical artifact on their property. What legal obligations do they have regarding this discovery? A. No legal obligations. They can keep or sell the artifact. B. Notify state archaeological authorities and halt any further ground disturbance. C. Destroy the artifact to avoid legal complications. D. Only report if the artifact is of significant value. Answer: B. Notify state archaeological authorities and halt any further ground disturbance. Explanation: California law requires homeowners to notify state archaeological authorities upon discovering historical artifacts and potentially halt any further ground disturbance to preserve the site. Question 43. Explain the role of a real estate appraiser in California and how their assessment impacts a property transaction. A. Provides a mandatory final sale price. B. Offers a non-binding opinion on property aesthetics. C. Determines the market value of a property, influencing sale price negotiations. D. Appraiser's role is purely advisory and has no impact. Answer: C. Determines the market value of a property, influencing sale price negotiations. Explanation: in California, a real estate appraiser plays a crucial role by determining the market value of a property, which is a key factor in sale price negotiations and financing decisions. Question 44. A couple in California is considering buying a property under a land lease. What are the implications of this type of property ownership? A. No implications. It's the same as owning the land. B. Ownership of the structure but not the land, affecting long-term value and financing. C. Automatically converts to full ownership after 10 years. D. Restricts the ability to make any property modifications. Answer: B. Ownership of the structure but not the land, affecting long-term value and financing. Explanation: buying a property under a land lease in California means owning the structure but not the land it's on, which can have implications for the property's long-term value and financing options. Question 45. Define market value in real estate and explain how it is determined in California. A. Fixed value set by the government. B. Based on the highest bid received for a property. C. The price a willing buyer and seller agree upon under normal conditions. D. Determined solely by property location. Answer. C. The price a willing buyer and seller agree upon under normal conditions. Explanation. In real estate, market value refers to the price that a willing buyer and a willing seller would agree upon under normal conditions, often determined by factors such as location, property condition, and market trends. Question 46. During a drought, a homeowner in California is restricted from using their well. What rights and limitations pertain to groundwater usage on private property? A. Unlimited usage rights, regardless of drought conditions. B. Rights governed by local water authorities and state regulations. C. Well usage is completely prohibited during droughts. D. Groundwater rights are not recognized in California. Answer. B. Rights governed by local water authorities and state regulations. Explanation. In California, the usage of groundwater from private wells is subject to regulations by local water authorities and state laws, especially during drought conditions, to manage water resources sustainably. Question 47. A real estate agent in California is accused of blockbusting. Explain this term and its legal implications. A. Renovating properties to increase neighborhood value. B. Inducing panic selling based on racial or demographic changes. C. Building large developments that block city views. D. Selling properties in bulk to investors. Answer. B. Inducing panic selling based on racial or demographic changes. Explanation. Blockbusting refers to the unethical and illegal practice of inducing homeowners to sell their properties cheaply by suggesting that demographic changes in the neighborhood will lead to declining property values. Question 48. Explain the concept of title insurance in California real estate transactions and why it is important for buyers. A. Protects against physical damage to the property post-purchase. B. Insures against losses from title defects or legal claims against the property. C. Optional insurance for luxury properties only. D. Covers remodeling costs after purchase. Answer. B. Insures against losses from title defects or legal claims against the property. Explanation. Title insurance in California real estate transactions protects buyers from financial losses due to title defects or legal claims against the property, such as liens or ownership disputes. Question 49. A buyer in California backs out of a real estate transaction after the inspection period. What are the potential financial repercussions? A. Loss of earnest money deposit. B. No repercussions. Buyers can back out anytime. C. Double the earnest money as a penalty. D. Required to complete the purchase regardless. Answer. A. Loss of earnest money deposit. Explanation. If a buyer in California backs out of a real estate transaction after the inspection period without a valid contingency, they may lose their earnest money deposit as a financial repercussion. Question 50. Explain the significance of disclosure of agency in a real estate transaction in California. A. Optional disclosure with no legal weight. B. Legally required to inform parties of the agent's relationship to them. C. Only necessary for commercial transactions. D. Pertains to disclosing the agent's commission rates. Answer. B. Legally required to inform parties of the agent's relationship to them. Explanation. In California, disclosure of agency is legally required in real estate transactions to inform all parties involved of the agent's relationship to them, ensuring transparency and managing potential conflicts of interest.